In the dead of night, the wind howled through the narrow alleys of Greybridge, as a single white envelope sat on the steps of the city. As Central Police, stationed inside, the first riddle solve my labyrinth of lies, and ULL, find what truth denies. That cryptic verse, stamped with no fingerprints, no return address, no signature, would change everything. The day before, a body had been discovered in a deserted warehouse on the edge of town, brutally mutilated, posed like part of some grotesque The man's eyes stared blankly at the ceiling, his fingers arranged in a precise order as if he were trying to point out the next clue. That, dear listener, was the moment when the nightmare began. The victim was Elias Monroe, a 38-year-old freelance investigative journalist known for exposing corruption in local government and organized crime. Fresh out of a dingy midtown apartment, he had recently announced he was working on a major expose about a powerful crime syndicate rumored to control half of Greybridge's underworld. Though nothing had been published yet, he'd told a few close friends it would be his most explosive piece, yet one he claimed would bring down more than just low-level crooks. He was last seen entering the warehouse district late the previous night, carrying a battered leather satchel and speaking on his cell phone in hushed but urgent tones. He had the look of a man carrying too heavy a secret. The warehouse, once a bustling textile factory, now abandoned and rotting, stood several blocks from the city's downtown district, in an area where streetlights flickered and shadows seemed to whisper. The night was cold, damped with December mist, and the faint hum of distant traffic faded under the heavy silence surrounding the building. It was inside this decaying cavern that his body was found at dawn by a homeless man scavenging for scrap. The scene was horrific. Elias lay sprawled on the dusty concrete floor. Blood pooled beneath him, his limbs arranged unnaturally and sealed within a circle of chalk drawn carefully by someone who moved with precision and artistry. On a nearby wooden crate lay a single photograph. A well-known local politician, head downcast, face cropped out. Scrawled on the back in red ink, the words "Your turn" stared back with accusatory calm. As news of the discovery spread, panic rippled through Greybridge. Who could do something so cruel? Why leave a taunting photograph behind? Rumors swirled. Some whispered about mob retaliation, others about a vigilante punishing corruption. The tension in the city was thick enough to cut with a knife. It wasn't long before the envelope arrived at police headquarters. Inside, there were not one, but 3 riddles, each typed in an elegant but ominous font. The first, the on-step riddle, played on the warehouse finding. Where shadows dance and factories bone, the sinner's mask will be his own. The second, find the ledger where secrets sleep, count each lie before you weep. The third, when justice sleeps and fear runs free, only light can set you free. No name, no signature, but the paper was crisp, slightly scented, as though printed by a high-end office rather than a crime scene rag. The puzzle taunted the police. We know you too well. Watch us win. Then nothing silence, like a vacuum. As night turned into day, investigators from the Greybridge Police Department scrambled to analyze every detail. Detectives dusted for prints, Special Forces crime labs scanned for DNA, forensic experts measured blood spatter, homicide teams secured the warehouse, sealed the perimeter. The Satchelias' leather satcheliled a few items, a half-burned notebook, a cell phone with the screen smashed, a typewriter ribbon coated faintly in red, and a small key, tarnished and old. Nothing else. The notebook pages had been torn out, save for one page near the end, a sketch of a chessboard with pawns and knights drawn in red ink, with one square circled in black. Handwritten underneath, move 3 steps. Take the pawn. Check. The key was unmarked, its shape peculiar, like it belonged to some old filing cabinet, perhaps hidden deep in the vaults of power. Detectives realized the killer wasn't sloppy, he was theatrical. The crime was staged to send a message. Public reaction was immediate and haunting. Local newspapers splashed Elias's face across front pages. Citizens locked doors earlier than usual. Whispers of conspiracy filled smoky bars. A vigil was held near the warehouse, where dozens lit candles, beneath the flickering streetlights. On one of those candles, someone had written, "Truth dies in silence." A sense of dread spread. I felt it myself as I read through the police bulletins. People began disappearing from the fringes. Small-time informants vanished. Others began refusing to talk. Fear had taken root. As the investigators digested the riddles, a second package arrived 3 days later, a box, heavy and covered in plain brown paper. Inside, a cassette tape and a cryptic note. "Press play. Hear the lie." The tape contained a distorted audio message. Static at first, then a faint voice in. A man's accent. Cold, calm, mocking. "You dig for truth, but truth digs back. Tonight, beneath the city's heartbeat, the second lies in wait." The voice repeated once. Then a noise like metal scraping echoed, followed by a cough, and then a sudden silence. The entire recording lasted 36 seconds. Forensic audio technicians enhanced it, filtering out static, but the voice remained unidentifiable. No match in national criminal voice databases. No regional accent recognized. Nothing. Whoever this was, they knew how to conceal their identity. Detectives interpreted the clue. Beneath the city's heartbeat, possibly the subway tunnels that ran under Greybridge. Officers organized patrols, inspected the tracks, checked maintenance rooms, but found nothing unusual. It felt as though the killer had disappeared into thin air. Over the next week, tension mounted. Detectives focused on those close to Elias: colleagues, friends, politics, organized crime suspects. They uncovered that Elias had recently confronted one of the city council members, Richard Keyes, accusing him of laundering money for a local gang and demanding a meeting that never happened. Keyes denied the meeting, claimed he'd been out of town, but rumors said that on the night Elias died, he was seen leaving a high-rise downtown, blinking red emergency lights reflecting off his limousine's tinted windows. The councilman was quizzed. He provided an alibi. He was at a gala in another city, but no records or footage supported that. Detectives believed he was lying. Senior officers predicted he was the prime suspect. They searched his properties, offices, safe deposit boxers. Nothing. No evidence. His name slipped out in the media. He denied everything and hired top lawyers who lambasted the press. Public hysteria turned political, adding pressure, but still no arrest. As if in response, a third package arrived, this time on live television during the nightly news broadcast. A video file uploaded anonymously with the headline, "The Final Move." It showed a dimly lit room, a table with a lamp casting harsh shadows. On the table lay a ledger, pages dog-eared, stained. The camera panned slowly, revealing names, numbers, dates. Then it cut to a map of Greybridge, with red circles around certain addresses. The camera lingered over one, a small house on the outskirts of the city. Then the image flickered, the tape cut, and the video ended. No message, no signature, mere proof. The city held its breath. The police raided the house searchlights, cutting through the darkness, but found nothing. No body, no weapon, no ledger. No sign anyone had lived there recently. Only emptiness and peeling wallpaper. Investigators turned inward, reviewing everything. Forensic teams re-examined the warehouse, the satchel, the cassette, the video footage. A few anomalies emerged, a faint trace of residue on the envelope, common to industrial printing presses. Slight soil residue on the leather satchel, only consistent with warehouse dust. A fiber found on the cassette tape packaging, similar to upholstery from high-end office chairs, found in the suspected politician's office complex. But none of these were definitive. Defense lawyers for the politician attacked the police cases, building on circumstantial smoke and mirrors. Meanwhile, a different theory picked up, that the killer was not politically motivated but thoroughly testing law enforcement, playing a twisted game of puzzle master. Detectives argued, the ledger video, the circled addresses, they were random, distractions to draw attention away from a second victim, someone already dead or hiding. Fear spread among potential targets. No one felt safe. Then, 12 days after the first murder, a second body was found, this time in a quiet residential neighborhood. A young woman, Marisa Cole, age 27, a paralegal who had worked briefly with Elias on the investigation. She was discovered in her apartment, door locked from inside. No signs of forced entry. On her desk lay a printed page. Another riddle, typed in the same font as the envelope and cassette note. The second pawn is lost, but not gone. Look in a place where secrets yawn. Police sealed off her building. Forensics dusted for prints. Checked her computer, phones, alarm logs. Nothing. No threats reported. No signs of struggle. She was found sitting at her desk, hands folded, eyes wide open, as if shocked by something she saw. No apparent wound. Her cause of death was poisoning, slow acting, undetectable 4 hours after ingestion. Investigators speculated she had received a drink laced with toxin when she got home, maybe coffee or tea, but lab results showed a rare compound, undetectable under standard toxicology screens until later specialized tests. Hours had passed. The killer had vanished. Panic spread further. The city's residents recorded. Rumors turned into horror stories. People began accusing one another. Former friends vanished. Anonymous letters flooded media offices. Meanwhile, police realized the murderer's pattern. Each package came 3 days apart. First envelope, then box, then video. Now the killing each. Clue more personal, more daring. It was a countdown. A game, a message. The timing suggested something big was coming. Investigators feared a third victim. Detectives scrambled to identify everyone who had worked with Elias and Marissa. They examined their contacts, colleagues, sources, lawyers, whistleblowers. They canvassed local bars, early morning coffee shops, underground clubs. They raided city safe houses. They obtained court orders, seized bank accounts, phone records. But the deeper they dug, the more elusive the truth became. In the midst of this chaos, a journalist at a local paper claimed to have received a final package, but when investigators arrived, there was nothing, just an empty mailbox. Security cameras were missing. The witness claimed a masked courier dropped the package and slipped away. The description: a tall figure in a long trench coat, gloves on, carrying a small leather bag knot. Unlike Elias's satchel, the courier vanished into the night. It was a dead end. The trail froze. Media speculation went wild. Some said the killer had powerful protectors. Others claimed it was someone outside the city, mocking the entire investigation. Fear and distrust warped the community. Neither the police nor citizens trusted each other. Informants vanished. Tips stopped. The killer had achieved something darker than murder. He had instilled terror, paranoia, and silence. Months passed. The high-ranking suspect, the politician, remained uncharged. There was not enough evidence. The second victim's death was filed as unresolved. The casa cold. Public outcry faded slowly. Memorials wilted. Investigative budgets were cut. Detectives moved on to other murders. The station filled with new cases, new tragedies, but none as cold and haunting as this. The warehouse remained sealed, covered in graffiti. Rumors of ghost sightings swirling. Some said late at night you could hear drilling under the floorboards, or see a flicker of light in a window no one dared open. Others claimed the chalk circle returned, drawn in fresh dust, a warning to someone. The city refused to talk about it. The fear remained unspoken. Years later, the case was quietly archived as unsolved puzzle murders. Files gathered dust. Many called it a warning of what happens when truth slips too close to power, when justice is twisted into a game. But a few believers refused to let it die. A small group of amateur sleuths gathered online, sharing rumors, dissecting the riddles, drawing their own conclusions. They pointed to inconsistencies. The fiber found on the cassette might match upholstery. Yes, but perhaps not. The politician's office. The soil on the satchel could have come from the warehouse premises itself. Perhaps no deeper link to power. Some speculated the killer was someone entirely different. A disgraced ex-cop, a hired assassin, or even someone within the police force, playing both sides. Others whispered it was a sadistic obsessive, a loner driven by twisted morality and hidden memories. But none had proof, only puzzles, conjecture, and chills. Today, The voice of the killer Reef. He is still, the live remains unhurt. The puzzles remain unsolved. 2 lives snuffed out, innocent questions left hanging in the cold air, answers buried under layers of fear, silence, corruption, and dust. For some, the case is simply a warning. Beware the shadows where justice sleeps. For others, a challenge to dig deeper, to shine light where darkness holds sway. And for you, dear listener, a final question, because sometimes truth doesn't lie in evidence, but in what we choose to see. Who was the puppeteer behind those riddles? Who arranged the bodies, mailed the clues, orchestrated terror? And why did the city, in its fear, look away? If you think you have the answer, share it. Maybe together we can open the vault the police could not. If you want more stories like this, more cold cases, more unsolved mysteries, subscribe to Midnight Crime Vault.